Yeah, now it works. With my other guitar, it sounds like crap. Oh, hi there, I'm Chris. Today we're going to speak about why some profiles work for some of your guitars, but not others. And more importantly, we're going to speak about how you can fix that issue, because it's actually fairly simple to fix within the Kemper. Now, I'm going to go through a really simple and quick method and one that is slightly longer, but which I recommend. So, in essence, what happens is this specific profile seems to work well for my low output PAF style pickups. However, when I switch to another guitar which has louder pickups, like this one, oh, and I managed to do it without tearing the studio down, I'm happy. So, this guitar has much louder Solar Duncan pickups. It doesn't sound bad, but it's not the same kind of tight feeling. It's more mushy, a little bit too much of everything. So, basically, this guitar pushes the amp in a totally different way. And this is not an issue that belongs to Kemper. It's a general issue. If you have two different guitars and you plug into the same amp, you're going to get different sounds. That's why it's cool to have different guitars and different amps. So what's cool with the Kemper is that the fix is sometimes very easy. And you have a lot of control. But that control can get a little bit intimidating because there are lots of knobs and stuff to touch. So the easiest method by far would be to go into the amplifier block. So I do that by holding the block and then play around with the definition knob. So for example, it's around 5 now. If I turn it up a bit, it's immediately much tighter. So if I undo and compare and redo, so all the loose bottom end is kind of gone now. So it's much better. So this is less tight basically. But even though it's better, I still think the original is kind of far from the original sound. And a lot of times when let's say you buy a profile, then you probably have a specific sound in mind, which is what that profile tried to capture. So instead of doing this generic fix, which is easy and it works, but it also totally changes the sound of the amp. Instead of doing that, we can do something that's a little bit more elaborate, but that's even more effective. So I'm going to undo what I did here. So we're starting with the fresh profile here. And instead, we're going to be thinking a little bit. Okay, so if I have a loud output pickup, then possibly this profile was made with a pickup that's low output. There's a chance that could be the reason. In fact, that is often the reason, apart from differences in tonality and sometimes also in dynamics. But a lot of times it's just the output that's different and you have to kind of match it. So in this case, it's a profile I made by myself, and I usually have a boost block here with a pure booster. And that is the absolute best way to change basically the output of your guitar to match what the profile is kind of expecting. So without analyzing too much, I'm just trying to say here, get yourself a pure booster and try to decrease it if you have a high output guitar. So it's on 2 now, plus 2. That means that whoever profiled this one, me in this case, wanted to boost the signal of their guitar, which makes sense because my previous guitar was a low output PAF pickup. So now let's just try turning the block off, and that would immediately remove that 2 plus boost that was in place. So if we compare with it on, this is a lot, but it's already tighter. So we could actually try to remove a little bit more gain. So I'm going to go on the minus side now and try minus 1.3 or something. It's a little bit too much. So I'm looking for something that's kind of tight here. And if I want more gain, what I'll do is maybe tweak the gain knob instead, which brings me to the second step here. If you want more gain, then add more gain. This is also straightforward, but it's a very effective knob, and it's a very musical way to change your profile. Unless you do a really big change, that's a good way to mess things up. But small changes in the gain level almost always works out for the better. So this is already much, much better. But we can check the EQ now, and we can see that, okay, so the profile has quite a bit of bass removed. And that also makes sense. If the original guitar had like a more flubby bass response, then you might want to turn the bass down. But this guitar doesn't have that, so we can try bringing back some bass. Yeah, so this works. I don't think it would work with the other guitar. It's not necessarily what you want to do if you want to fit it in the mix. But if you want the sound to sound big on its own, this works. And you can keep on tweaking the EQ. But the point I'm trying to make here is the best way to tweak a profile to your guitar is first just add a pure booster and either add more to the signal, add more boost, or remove boost. So you're going to remove some level or some gain coming from the guitar. That's the first thing I think you should do, because it doesn't mess with the original profile. You're not changing anything in the intended sound. You're just adjusting it to your guitar. And when you've done that, you could fine-tune the gain if you want a little bit, because the amount of gain you get is always going to be related to the input, right? So if you feed the profiler with more signal, it's going to give you more gain. So you might want to adjust the gain a little bit, and then adjust the EQ. And not just the bass, because the rest of the guitar, or the rest of the frequency response is most likely also going to be different. So here I could definitely picture more high end. So let's add some treble. Much better. So if we undo that, this can sound kind of dark, but with some treble, much more present and in your face. We can even add some presence here. Okay, so this is a totally different sound now, and I didn't even change the knobs that much. We undo both of those. Kind of dark and far away. We redo them. There you have it, in your face. Okay, so that's pretty much the message I wanted to convey today. This doesn't have to be difficult. You just think it's a good idea to think a little bit before you start tweaking. So, and in my case, the profiles I oftentimes prefer low output guitars because of the dynamic range. But the profiles still work really well with high output pickups. You might just need to adjust the input signal of the Kemper. So pure booster is amazing. Tweak the gain a little bit, tweak the EQ, and you're going to be good to go. Thank you for watching. You've been wonderful. I've been Christopher Dahl.